Welcome folks, it's me TheTacticalBrit, and recently we haven't really had a lot to talk about in the world of Squad. Despite a very ambitious living roadmap that promised to deliver quite a lot before the end of 2020, we find ourselves in 2021 with V2 being delayed into February. Now personally, I'm okay with that. I'm somebody who's been waiting around for Squad to do things for a very long time in pre-alpha, alpha, beta, open beta, whatever it happens to be really. And I think fundamentally the living roadmap was quite flawed because the developers of the game planned quite a few major overhauls in terms of how things like map layers worked, and how certain parts of the game worked that would definitely slow down the process. But the thing about these tedious tasks that are very time consuming is that once they're done, it means that the pipeline to get more stuff in is far, far easier. After this major update into V2, I think you guys will see a lot more content for Squad coming much more quickly. In fact, it was even mentioned in the overall cast that they did recently that there will be no more engine upgrades to the game this year, which means that they can primarily dedicate their time to content. And engine upgrades and reworking pre-existing systems is something that is an issue and something that needs to be done, but I'm glad they're getting there. And because of all of these delays, it's really exciting to look around the community and see what people are doing. You guys were very excited about the Squad Vietnam mod I mentioned, and today I want to bring you guys the Squad French mod, and this is probably one of my favorites so far that I've seen, just in terms of the scope and scale of the project, just in terms of how much they're communicating everything that they're doing, and also just how professional it all looks. I think they've done a really fantastic job getting this to a really high standard and creating lots of really interesting assets, but also a development team who really understands, the current situation in Squad, and a development team who is trying to make a faction that fits into the game so well that, OWI, in my opinion, may as well just buy it. Everything you're seeing in the background is stuff that I've pulled from their website, and these aren't everything. It's, quite an extensive library with multiple updates of work-in-progress work, but they're doing a really fantastic job here. We're talking a whole host of new vehicles, new maps, new weapons and equipment. They've done absolutely everything in terms of grenades, rocket launchers, helicopters. There's been no stone unturned in this department, and everything you would anticipate from a fully functioning faction within Squad is what you're getting here in the French faction. To give you an idea of just how extensive this stuff is, not only are these guys having like a website that has this whole host of content and array of everything that they're working on, and all of the work in progress, including things like sound files, which is really impressive, but they also have the full composition of every single kit within the game that they intend to have, which is really exciting, and it just goes to show how much planning and effort's going into this, which is really good to see. I think it's kind of a testament to how good the development team is on this, when I would argue that the Canadian mod was less finished, less refined, and in less of a good place than this mod is. And the Canadian mod was purchased by Squad and integrated into the game as a full official expansion of the game. And maybe that's kind of what these guys are hoping for here, though clearly the development team is just insanely talented and has a lot going on here. And if you want to support them, which I highly recommend you do, I have links in both the description and in the comment section below to their Discord. So definitely feel free to check that out. Squad is a really good game in the sense that it has an SDK, but the actual support insofar as, supporting mods or highlighting mods or bringing mods forward is something that's a little bit hit and miss on their side, and I think they're aware of that, and I believe they've even spoken about, making strides to improve that situation. But really, I think the modern community, especially when they're doing incredible things like this, really deserves a lot of interest and a lot of respect, and if any video like this can help that, then 100% I want to put it out there. I think possibly the thing that I enjoy the most about this is some of the really intense thought about even things like commander assets. For example, the fact that they have a precision bomber, which is really, really cool, and the actual asset for it as well looks fantastic. They've done a really good job of polishing that. I think one of the things I'm most looking forward to about the French faction is that although we are getting different factions like the US Marine Corps, the Australian faction, and the Pan-Asian faction, there's always that want for a little bit more, and it's actually been a while since we got a faction. Of course, after the MEA released, it was sort of, nothing really until then. And I think if you're somebody who's played Squad for a very, very long time, like I have, the more diversified the overall pool of weaponry, vehicles, maps, and things that come into play, the better, really. Even the Canadian mod shares very similar parities to the United States faction, and it's nice to have a faction that has relatively different weaponry and things that, look like they could actually be quite significant changes from what we've seen in the past. I think the arsenal of French weapons that they've managed to pull together here is both really exciting, but also just very different and very unique, and just looks and feels like something we haven't really had before in Squad. That, and I'm also kind of hugely biased because I'm really excited to use a HK417 in Squad, and that's something that just sounds fantastic to me because that gun is so good in every other game I've played it in, and it's going to be really exciting to see it in Squad. So folks, that's about everything that I have to show you for the Squad French mod. Naturally, I could bang on and on about the individual assets, the individual kits, the individual everything that's coming to the game, but I'd really rather you guys explore those things yourself as much as you can, and just do your best to support these guys. I think the modern community is a very exciting place to be in Squad. It almost feels like Squad is this sort of endless sandbox experience where anything can really happen and we can have any kind of mod roll up, such as the French mod, that could be really exciting for the game. And I'm really hoping that we see OWI really support that cause in the future and support these modern communities by showcasing what they're making and bring them more attention. Because if they aren't going to buy some of them, which they have done in the past, at the bare minimum they can expose them to a very large number of people, especially when they're such high quality like the French mod here. The thing about people who play Project Reality and play Squad is that they're aware that community-based initiatives are the things that keep the lifeblood of these games going. And if we can get that in front of as many people as possible, and possibly get as many people as possible to fund those projects, then it heads in a good place and we'll see a really good future for Squad, even after OWI finishes official support, whenever that may be. I have no doubt in my mind that Squad is the #1 modern tactical shooter on PCs right now. It's something that's incredibly great to see, and just how well it's performing is fantastic to see as well. And I think, mods like this are really going to be critical to the future, and I hope that we get to see more of them. So again, if you want to check out the French mod, there's a link to their website and their Discord in the description below. Feel free to check that out, and I'll catch you guys again in another video.